Hello guys, welcome to Global Happenings. Today we have a trending news here for you. And the headline of the news reads, Serial reasons why Emir Sanusi was humiliated by Governor Ganduje. But before we go on with details of the news and further analysis, please if not subscribed to our channel, kindly do same by clicking on the red subscribe button and also on the bell icon so that you can get notification anytime we publish our videos on YouTube. All right, let's look at the news in detail. An educated, widely traveled, and opinionated emir is the last person the establishment want to be dealing with. The 14th emir of Kano, Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi, will wake up this morning. Is already awoken in Nasarawa in some remote area, exile, placed under house arrest, deprived of access to visitors, sipping from a cup of Arabian tea, and cut off from the rest of the world. He is not to be seen on the street unless he is granted state pardon. He is not even going to be allowed to wave at admirers or experience the beauty of weather from his balcony, just because that's how it works when you are dethroned as emir. To enforce his dethronement, Sanusi had police and security operatives storming his residence and marching him to a waiting car and a aircraft like a common thief, all in a day's job. One of the special advisors to Kano State Governor Abdullahi Ganduje on media, Salihu Tanko Yakasi, says Sanusi's dethronement as Emir had been long in coming because he has taken to disrespecting the governor and his office, shunning events organized by the Kano state government, and that the Emir has brazenly displayed acts amounting to insubordination time and again. According to his word, he said Emir Sanusi had direct access to Governor Ganduje, but prefer to take to every podium and forum to air his views and criticize the government. Tanko Yakasi says with a shrewd. Anyone who had been monitoring political events in Kano should not in any way be surprised by Sanusi's deposition on Monday, March 9, 2020. Ganduje just couldn't stand the emir anymore, and the emir had long gotten under the governor's skin. The relationship between the governor and the emir took a turn for the worse after Sanusi openly endorsed the PDP candidate Abba Yusuf ahead of the Kano governorship and rerun election in March of 2019. It was an angry Ganduje who then organized the Kano Emirate and created 4 new Emirates of it in August of 2019, ostensibly to whittle Sanusi's power and influence, emasculate the first-class emir and tender him irrelevance. A straight talker and intellectual, Sanusi was always going to fall out with Ganduje or any other Kano governor, one way or the other. Tanko Yakasi says Sanusi was so hot-headed he received as many as 4 queries under former Kano Governor Rabiu Kwankwanso and one such query under Ganduje. Those who can stand the man, and Ganduje was one, will swear that Sanusi is an arrogant, elitistic, or non-conformist set in his own ways. A former governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Sanusi's straight talking got him into trouble with President Goodluck Jonathan, who promptly suspended him for accusing his administration of corruption. Folk who share offices with Sanusi at First Bank and UBA also share similar tales of the man. He was a my way or the highway kind of guy. However, as an economist and reformer, Sanusi is a kind of public intellectual who wears his heart on his sleeves and who loads politicians and politics to a degree. In a BBC interview he granted immediately After his stint as CBN governor, Sanusi swore never to become a politician. I am not ready, I don't want it, and I am not interested in politics. I feel that if I go into politics, it would destroy everything I have done. I cannot survive 1 year in that space. I think it takes a particular type of skill to be a politician, and I don't have those skills, he did say. It is that conflict or dichotomy between the intellectual and the politician that inevitably landed Sanusi on a WAP pad with Governor Ganduje. You could tell he hated Ganduje's way and politics and that he couldn't stand the man on his ilk. You could also tell that as Emir, Sanusi hated some of the cultural, traditional, and religious practices that have held back the north of Nigeria for decades and that have made the region the poverty capital of the country. The same practices the political class have done nothing about because these practices kept the people enslaved. So, when Sanusi took to podium at public forum conferences or symposium, he saw an opportunity to speak against child marriages, the Almajiris, and scold his people for some of the practices that have kept them perpetually poor and worse off. In an attempt to liberate minds, he must have offended the slave masters. Essentially, you could say Sanusi is a largely misunderstood man, the kind of man politicians can't stand because he gets under their skin with his knowledge, worldview, and better grasp of issues. Politicians don't like folks who tell them the truth, and Sanusi has just paid for his innate candor and outspokenness with his throne. Sanusi removal is also a metaphor on the power of the state or of state governors. Governors do not have the powers to dethrone and enthrone any monarch because these monarchs basically live off them or survive from the stipend provided by the state. Post-colonial rulers are proving even more brutal than the colonial predecessors in this regard. The other day, we saw Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State publicly dressed down or insult the traditional ruler, and heavens did not fall. In 1998, this then military administrator of Edo State, Navy Captain Anthony Ibe, messed up with the Oba of Benin when he removed the monarch as chairman of the Edo State Traditional Council and other issues that have come up. I think that's where we're going to stop. Let's just look at this issue and talk about it. The truth remains that Emir Sanusi has stepped on the tail of the python, and that is why he has suffered what he's suffering currently. Already we know that the grandfather was also like that because oftentimes he was seen always castigating the governor, the then leaders, political leaders, and but we must say the truth, just as the writer here has clearly stated, what he is doing is actually not out of place. The only thing is that he is doing these things as against the position he's currently occupying. What he's doing is really against the position he's occupying as an emir, or as not just an emir, as a traditional ruler. One of the things expected of you is diplomacy in the way you iron out issues. And it is expected that they are not meant to meddle in political issues. They are meant to be totally apolitical. In other words, irrespective of the fact that people are not doing so well when they are occupying political position like that of governor, your duty is just to sensitize your people on the need for them to vote for their own choices. And oftentimes, if you review their, most of the monarchs, you realize they tend to move towards the standpoint of the current governors. They try to support whatever they are doing, owing to the fact that they are appointed by them. Not just that they are appointed by them, they are also being paid from the public fund. But the case of Emir Sanusi is quite different. Number one, he's a westernized guy. He's one person who has so much hate for politics, not just for politics, but the political culture as a whole. Political culture, what I mean by that is what really makes up politics. There's a lot of lying, there is a lot of propaganda, there is a lot of storytelling, there is a lot of mental enslavement, there is a lot of attitude enslavement when it comes to politics. And that is what he really hates. And that is why he believed that given the opportunity to lead the people was also an opportunity for him to modernize everything that has to do with it. Now, don't forget, just as you've heard in the news, that the North is considered to be the poverty capital of Nigeria, and which is very true. One occasion I was looking at, I think one of the social media, and people were talking about who is going to take over the baton of leadership come 2023. And the North were still standing their ground that they will not allow the opportunity to come into the hands of the Southerners, mostly the Southeasterners. And someone just came on board and was talking with clear-cut evidence about the issue. And one of the things he made mention of, he said, Shay, you people have the position of the president, but I want to ask you a question. Who are those that are begging on the streets? Nobody profile answer, but we all know it's mostly the Northerners. Who are those that are out of school? The Northerners. Who are those who are doing all manner of stupid petty job, being cobblers on the street? We all know who they are. Who are those who have children littered on the roads? We all know who they are. Who are those that have the highest number of out-of-school children? We all know they are Almajiris. That was one of the problems that this guy was trying to solve. Now, these are some of the issues that he came in and was purposeful towards it. He wanted to see how he can alter and change it. I think one of his criticism was the reason behind Governor Ganduje banning anything like begging on the streets. Because if you go to the North, you realize that these guys are littered everywhere. One of the things that will characterize their being in any way, if you go into any city, if you just want to know if the Northerners are around, check out the streets. You will see them dotted all over the street begging. And unfortunately, you see that the begging is not just a case of those who have legs and all of that. You even see people who have 2 hands and 2 legs, but they are begging. So with all of this in mind, his purpose was, let me step in and see how I can change this whole thing. But hey, this had been almost part of the culture and tradition of the North. So coming in to change it was difficult. So what did he do? Oftentimes, when given the opportunity in symposiums, in conferences, in maybe discussions on television, on open environment, he airs his views, open up on some of the grievances, which it is believed he wouldn't have gone that far. That what he would have done would have been a case of meeting with the present-day governor and telling him this and this and this and this are some of the things which I feel should be changed in your government or should be fixed amongst our own people, which he did not do. On that grounds, he was kicked out of that position. As we're talking to you right now, he is our logo in Nasarawa State, and you have already heard some of the things that he's going to suffer. He won't be allowed to see the people, even to talk. He will be rendered totally incommunicado. In other words, you won't have opportunity. Even media guys will have opportunity of talking to him. No one will have any chance of having anything to do with him, and this is just too hard. According to the information, is that it's already engrafted into the traditional laws that anyone that is dethroned as an emir must suffer all of these. The question is, would Sanusi wants to stay in this kind of situation owing to the fact that he is overly, experienced, not just experienced, he's a traveler, he's almost like a Westerner, he understands his onion, he's overly educated. Do you think he will wait for as long as he will get pardon for the sins he has committed. Let's interact in our comment section. Tell us, do you think these were the only sins that he had committed? Let's interact. Thank you very much.